Hello folks, Trouble T-Cat here, recording for the Zombie Arcade as per usual, and today we're going to be talking about Elite Dangerous, which is kind of a controversial game, even within its own community. If you go on the forums for this game, you will see a lot of people who are very, very unhappy with this game and who are very, very upset, and you will see another group of people who are, shall we say, fanatical, to the point where if anybody mentions any flaws in the game, these people will be like, well, you just don't understand what the game is trying to be, which is obviously really stupid. So, I've been playing this game since pre-launch. I've been playing it since the beta. I was planning to make videos of it way back then, but I never got around to it for various reasons. But here we are now, discussing the current state of the game as of patch 1.2. This is just going to be the start of my ongoing coverage of ED. When the next big patch comes out, I will cover that, and we'll give some more impressions and so on. When there's updates to the game, or any interesting stuff goes on it that I want to talk about. Anyway, let's get into the meat of this video, which is whether or not you should buy Elite Dangerous as of its current state in patch 1.2. The short answer is no. Categorically no. I would not recommend this game to you, dear viewer. There is a certain crowd of people, there are certain folks who are going to love this game, who just, if you're really, really into Space Sims, and you're very, very sad because there have not been any good Space Sims in a while, and you are open to an experience that is pretty much directionless, I'll get more into that in a bit, then you may really like this game. But the fact of the matter is that right now I view it as being too flawed, having too little to offer to recommend in like a general case to anyone. So let's break that down and get into why that is. So in the game there are a few basic sort of activities you can do. There's combat, which you can do either as a bounty hunter or as like a mercenary fighting for one of the different factions, or as a pirate if that's what you're into. There is trading and also smuggling, which is like trading but a lot harder to make any money doing and not very fun. Trading's not very fun in my opinion either. There is exploration, where you sort of fly around and you explore and you check out the great big galaxy of ours, because of course one of the main selling points of the game is the fact that it features our entire galaxy in, you know, well, it's there. I was going to say in stunning detail, but that would be a little bit of an exaggeration. But there's a lot of star systems, and you can see a lot of cool stuff exploring. So there's exploration. There is mining. Don't mine. And those are, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I'm pretty sure those are more or less all the activities. Combat, trading, exploration, and mining, which is just not, just don't do that. Mining sucks. Don't do it. And that might sound like it's okay. It's like, oh, but TTC, you know, you were saying before that there's not enough on offer in the game, but that sounds like there's a fair few different sort of things you can do, different paths through the game, and that sounds like it would be good, right? And the answer is, it would be good if there was, like, context to any of this, like, any of this stuff at all. You know, you give things your own context. It's very much a sandbox game, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with making a sandbox game. And the fact that you are sort of crafting your own story as just a small player in a large galaxy is appealing in some sense. The problem is that the game, there's a couple problems. The first is that there's very little narrative context for any of these activities. You can get missions, and I'm not talking about an overarching plot line, because we don't want that in this game. That's not what ED is about, and it's not going to have like a main story or anything like that, and nor should it. That's not the issue here. You can get missions, and all the missions basically require you to do one or more of these basic activities that I've just outlined. And the issue is that all these missions are really samey, and there's like a little bit of flavor text, but you never really care that much. And for me, it's just this sort of lack of context is a little bit you know, it's not enough for me to be forging my own story across the stars, murdering people. I want to have a good motivation for committing murders. And I want to feel like my murders had an impact, and that's the other issue. So the game is supposed to have this reactive universe that reacts to all the actions of the players and what have you. And to a certain extent it does. It's true. You know, your actions impact, you know, governments in systems change and stuff like that, and there's this story that's kind of... It's like a combination of the background simulation and the devs sort of putting in a little bit of their own input into how the storylines develop. And that's a really cool idea, and I love that concept. The problem is that if I fly into a system, and that system is in a civil war, and I assist in a change of government, and then I go back, nothing changes appreciably. Like, you have to really dig into the lore to get into the game, but the lore is not well developed. You have to go to wikis and stuff like that and look shit up, and then you can, you know what the different factions stand for. You have like this tiny blurb in-game that doesn't tell you anything meaningful. So you gotta first go out of the game to look up what the factions are, and then in practice, a change of government in the system doesn't actually change anything, making it all feel really... It just feels really hollow, you know? I really want to get into the Galactic... Because that's... What should be the main hook of the game is engaging with the galactic storyline by the fact that your player actions influence what happens in the simulation and influence what happens in the galaxy. And as I said, that's a great idea. The problem is that when things change, it doesn't feel like anything has changed. It doesn't... You know, I guess the problem is that the universe is extremely sterile, to put it simply. You know, there are no people to interact with. There are these... It's really disappointing to me, and it has been disappointing to me several times. For example, I was flying through this system, and I was looking at the galaxy map, and there's a little description of the system on the galaxy map, and it said something about, like, it seems like the people here have something to hide. You get that bit of flavor text in sort of any game, and what you want is you want it to be the case that, well, you go to that system, and maybe you land at the starport, and maybe you can have like a conversation. Maybe there's like a small little quest mission chain there that plays into that flavor text and makes it feel like, you know, the universe is a real place. And obviously, with the scale of the galaxy in the game being what it is, they can't have stuff like that in every system, or even close to every system, not even every populated system, which is only a tiny fraction of all the systems. But they can't do that. But I think it's not too much to ask for it to be, for something like that, where there a small sort of chain of missions, still just using the same activities in the game, but with a little bit greater narrative interest, to be built into a few systems here and there, you know, some places. I think that'd bring a lot to the game in terms of making it feel like less of a cold place. And I don't mean cold in the sense that, well, obviously it's future, it's the vacuum of space and stuff like that. I just mean, I feel like there's no reason to care about any of this shit that goes on, you know? So that really sucks. A worse example of that is a while ago, there was this thing on Galnet News, which is this moderated by the devs sort of news channel where they update you about the big galactic events and stuff like that are going on that you can participate in. And again, I stress that these feel kind of hollow, but whatever. There was this thing on Galnet about... There's this dude who has like a moving space station, and he's sort of flying around the galaxy. And in the Galnet update, it had like an interview with this guy who runs the space station, and it says like, if you want to hear about my travels, you'll have to come and find me, and, you know, we can talk about it over a drink or something like that. So I flew over there, which took, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Not a huge amount of time, but enough that, you know, when you see something like that in the dev-curated news, what you would assume is that there's going to be something, you know, special when you go to that station. You can there'll be, like, I don't know, some pointless little conversation with the bartender dude where he just tells you, like, witty, like, weird anecdotes about his travels. Anything like that. Nothing, you know? They put this thing out there in the newsletter where it's sort of encouraging players to go to this station and check it out. And you get there, and it's the same as every other station, and there's fucking nothing there. There were, like, a couple of the same kind of missions that were available at every other station. And that's not... that kind of shit really rubs me the wrong way, you know? They have this opportunity, and in fact they are giving you every indication that they're going to be doing something narratively interesting, and then there's just nothing there. Like, I want so badly to engage with the game and engage with its living universe and really sort of feel, you know, because they have an amazing platform. The actual mechanics are incredibly immersive. The way you pilot your ship feels great. And also, like, I invested $260 in buying a HOTAS specifically for this game, and probably also for Star Citizen, which I'm planning to buy when there's more content. But anyway, this video isn't about Star Citizen. I invested a lot in this game, and I feel like it's a great platform. I like the feel of flying the different ships. You know, they're not super agile or anything like that. They have this kind of weighty feel to maneuvering them, and combat is sort of this tactical kind of thing where you're balancing your power and you're trying to get around behind people and stuff like that. And it's good, you know? The core mechanics are good. The piloting, the actual flying of your ship feels really immersive to me. It feels great. So there's a lot to like. And I feel like it's a really good platform that currently just does not have enough to actually recommend it, because any of those main 4 activities that I mentioned start to get repetitive really quickly, and you sort of realize, like, I can grind for money to get the biggest ship or whatever, but what's the point, because I'll still just be doing one of the same 4 really repetitive tasks. And the mission structure, the missions give you so little that they don't really add any other sort of mental incentive to play. And as for the Living Galaxy stuff, as I said, it feels so sterile and lifeless, and changes have so little effect on gameplay, on aesthetics, on anything, that they may as well not happen. So there's some stuff about it that is great and that I love, and if you are the kind of person, a lot of people really like the game. It's a good game to just throw on some music and burn a couple hours, and if you just want to relax and you don't care about, you know, if you just kind of want to turn off your brain and relax and listen to some music, it's fine. And if you're really into space sims, then you will probably just love the feel of flying around in the game. You might get a kick out of exploration, which, you know, I found exploration interesting for a while. And so there are things to like about it, and a certain crowd who are okay with the really sedate pace and the lack of any context, or the lack of actually feeling the effects of your actions that are supposedly doing. If you can look past all that stuff, there's a lot to like about the game. It's not bad by any means, and I view it as an excellent platform. They've released a couple of major patches so far that have added new stuff to the game and made it better in a lot of ways. Like the last patch added a lot of multiplayer content that made it a lot easier for me to play with my friends, which was good, because playing with my friends made the game a bit more fun for me. It's online. I didn't mention that, but it is online. There's stuff to like, but I can't recommend it to a general audience right now because it feels so hollow and empty. They've promised for the next big update, 1.3, that they will be adding a whole new way to interact with the galaxy, and they've promised planetary landings will be coming at some point in the future as a paid expansion. They've said that they intend to have, you know, the ability to get out of your ship and walk around and stuff like that in the game at some point. And in fact, they say that the game has been built from the ground up with that stuff in mind, and that the technology is all there for it, and that they just need to actually develop it. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. You know, I've heard all that shit before, and I'm looking forward to that because I think they've got a great platform, and I think that if they can add more depth to the experience, that is the root core of my complaint. Is that, and it's been said a lot by a lot of different people, is that the game is only an inch deep. You know, it's huge, it's expansive, and there's, in theory, all this great stuff that is going on with it that's cool and interesting, but it's all so shallow that, you know, it's just a shame. So I'm really, really hoping, I've invested a lot, and I'm really hoping that they will realize the potential I feel this game has. And I will be continuing to cover it when more big updates come out. When 1.3 comes out, I will cover that, and we will reassess each time there's a new update. Like, would I now recommend that you buy this game? Is it enough yet? Is it now time? And I'm really hoping that, you know, someday this year or something, they will have added enough content to the game that I can say, yes, Elite Dangerous is now worth buying, and you should run out and buy it. But today is not that day, my friends. Today is not that day. I'll be doing a similar kind of coverage of Star Citizen at some point. I'm definitely planning on buying Star Citizen. I'll just mention at the end of the video here. When there is a bit more content in Star Citizen. Right now, there's not enough there to make me want to shell out for it, but I will be buying that when there's a bit more. And I'll be doing a similar kind of coverage for that. Anyway, thanks for watching, as always. If there are any particular games you would like me to cover that I have not covered on the channel yet, I've got a few other ideas lined up, but I'll just throw this sort of shout out there that if there's anything in particular you would like me to cover, leave a comment. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, all that fucking bullshit, whatever. Just thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, Trouble T Cat, blasting through the stars.